This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. We're out here following a pride of lions. Look at that little cub up in the tree. How adorable is that? Welcome to your very own wild safari from the wilds of Africa. Good morning everyone and a very warm welcome back to and Beyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. My name is Damon and behind the camera we've got Marcel. And how exciting is this? We managed to catch up with the 2 lionesses of Mountain Pride and their 5 little youngsters. And they seem to be on a mission. It's nice and cool this morning. And I wonder if those lionesses are not maybe off on the hunt to go try and find something to eat. And they're moving quite quickly, so let's try and catch up with them as they head down the hill. It's a magnificent morning here in Maputo land. Look at the mist down in the valley in front of us there. Oh, and the cubs are just being super playful. Like I said, with the temperature being so low, the lions are moving around a lot. The cubs are playing. And everyone's saying what a great start to the morning. I couldn't agree with you more. And it was a bit of a surprise to us. We weren't expecting, it wasn't the plan for this morning to look for these lions, and sometimes, you never know out here what could happen. We just came around the corner, checked up on a mountain, and there was a lioness. We had a closer look, and there were the rest of the cubs with her. You can just see little black tail tips above the grass every now and then as the cubs chase after each other. It's amazing to see how much they've grown. Even over the few weeks that we've been together watching these lions with Wild Earth, these cubs have gotten so much bigger. They're getting stocky. Look at them playing. Yo, even the lionesses are playing as well. I'm just going to stop here just so we can see what happens. The lionesses are on a bit of a mission. They're going down to a little water hole there. And I'm hoping that slows them down. They maybe stop there and have a look around. Because for the time being, they're moving pretty quickly. Okay, while we try and catch up with these lions, let's go across to Juma to say good morning to Trishala.
Good morning, everyone. How are we? I hope that we are all well. My name is Trishala, and I've got Niels on camera, and you can say we've got a little bit of a rolling start, and it is a little bit dull out here. So I thought, why not just pop out my spotlight and just look for a chameleon? And finally, we have found one. Everyone, a good halfway through my stint, and we finally made it. Can you see it there, Niels? This is my second most difficult thing to give cameramen to do is to spot where the chameleon is. Let's see how Niels does. Oh, what a star! There it is, everyone. I'm so glad. Whew. I thought I was going to leave next week, Monday, and not have seen a chameleon. How horrible that would have been. Oh, I'm so glad. It's a flap-necked chameleon, everyone. You know them very well. Debbie, you say woohoo? Finally, woohoo, and finally indeed, Debbie. I'm so glad. So remember everyone, you can send us your questions using the hashtag WildEarth or the YouTube chat stream, or for any kids out there, kids questions at wildearth.tv. You can ask us anything you'd like about the bush and this lovely chameleon. I think this bodes well for the day. We saw the cubs out yesterday, so I really want to go to the den. Hopefully they'll be out. And remember, I really wanted to see a chameleon, and I hoped that it would be out, and here it is. So I think we're going to have a fantastic day. A grey spots, you say you've named him Fernando now. What a lovely name. Is there any reason for Fernando grey spots? Please let me know using that hashtag. I just love these creatures. Just gorgeous. This one still seems to be asleep. They are diurnal. So you'll find them in trees in the early morning, late evening, and of course through the night, because they forage during the day. And they actually have the ability to keep one eye still a little bit aware and alert while the other one closes. Oh, all of you are agreeing that Fernando is a good chameleon name. Okay. Well, I'd love to know what other chameleon names you think are great. I guess there's something about Fernando, isn't there? I haven't seen this particular chameleon before. This one is on Twin Dams Road. Last time I found a chameleon on Twin Dams Road, it was a huge one. And it was months and months and months ago, towards the beginning of the year. In fact, maybe even last year. Now that it's getting a little bit warmer, it's 9 degrees Celsius this morning, or 49 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's not this biting chill in the air. So we can be, I think, a little bit lucky with chameleon and all else that we look for. Well, from some really small critter like our Fernando here, let's send you over to Steve with some ellies.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my vehicle and to an animal that, of course, is nowhere near as cryptically coloured or as small as a chameleon. That, everybody, is an elephant. Hello, how are we doing? My name is Steve, joined by Craig on camera once again. Very excited to have you with us. I'm sure Trish has informed you of all the questions and comments. So today is Monday. Yes, it is. And we find our elephants down in the drainage line, feeding, looking for good, valuable plant material. And what plant is it going to eat now that's going to sort out its body? Looks like it's going for some forbs. Ooh, that was very awkward. There's a little raisin bush that's going to get hammered. Yeah. And then underneath the grazing, we're down in a drainage line where a number of different tree species grow. And one of them we will be looking at today. In fact, at some stage a little bit later on in the drive, we'll be tracking down a tree and dissecting it for you on this Monday morning. But at the same time, we're first going to also just scour the property for some tracks, see what's going on, so that we can try and confirm or guarantee some sightings for this afternoon's show. But right now, it's all about the elephants. Beverly, you love how musical the bush is with the dry grass. It is. It's nice to just hear the movements, isn't it? The last 3 days or so, the elephants have been outside of our camp, just below mine and Trishala's room. and feeding in the drainage there, and you just sit on the outside porch, just listen to the branches breaking and the sounds of elephant feeding. It really is quite therapeutic. Grass grows nice and long down here in the drainage depression. And we're going to probably move on from our elephants, scour the property for some tracts, and maybe we'll pick up some signs of Tundi.
Welcome back, everybody. These lions are giving us a very hard time. The cubs are so playful, and the mothers are so full of energy this morning. We're having a very tough time keeping up with them. It was quite funny just now. The lioness is obviously set on going somewhere. They're moving quite quickly, and the cubs are obviously intent on just playing. And in the process, a whole bunch of them got left behind, and they just carried on playing. And the next thing, the lioness looked around and realized, where are all the cubs gone? And I had to come. And in the process, calling for it. After the while we try to find these lions again, let's go back to that Chameleon with Trishala.
Much more chilled. We've repositioned a little bit, so now you can actually see that the little eye is closed. Look at that. Fast asleep. Just lovely. Now normally we find them in the evening, as game drive is closing in the last 20 minutes, and they would have found their spot that they want to sleep in, but they're still quite alert. As you can see, this one has had a good sleep through the night and is still asleep this morning. Like a little dragon. Ross, awesome question. You'd like to know, how does the chameleon keep warm at night, especially during winter? They will reduce the amount of movement they make. I mean, it's not as if they make huge movement anyway, and that they move very quickly, but they'll try to limit how much they do, and they'll also tuck into a warm spot. Now, sometimes that could be a crevice in a rock, or in a stump of wood, or more usually in this type of area where it doesn't get extremely cold. I mean, this winter has been pretty cold. They pull in closer to the main branch in a bush. So you will still see them around, especially with your spotlight, but they'll be very, very difficult to see. You can just kind of see the color difference and their body. So they get really close into the leaves and into the main branch. So they're kind of covered and insulated. I've read some books that tell us that they will crawl into crevices, and I'm sure some do, but I have noticed that through winter last year and pretty much this year, I've still seen them on trees. Remember, they are reptiles, and reptiles are very, very good at controlling their metabolism. SG, you'd like to know what kinds of insects a chameleon would eat? Chameleons love grasshoppers. They really do. And any little insect that comes along, they will happily take. But especially grasshoppers. Somehow I feel like the grasshopper presents the chameleon with a challenge with the way that they move. And the chameleon's just like, I've got this fancy telescopic tongue. Let me show you. That tongue is incredible. Butterfly, you say this is fearless. Fernando, fearless indeed. So fearless that I can be fast asleep while thousands of people look at me. That is truly fearless. And when I said it, tad creepy, but a beautiful critter. Oh, look at that. The sun is starting to peek out, and now it's just enrobing this beautiful chameleon. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, that sun is peeking out. This chameleon's going to get nice and warm and go about its day, and I'm going to send you over to Steve to show you just what that sunrise looks like.
Well, everybody, we moved on from the elephants only to find you a beautiful sunrise. So I'm just going to sit back quietly and allow you to enjoy. Anna Marie, I do enjoy these peaceful, quiet sunrise moments. We're very blessed to have these opportunities, and very blessed that you're all able to join us. So I hope you're having a wonderful morning, wonderful start to the day. We're going to carry on and maybe do some work. How does that sound, Craig? Do some work? Let's go see if we can do some work this morning. It is a wonderful morning. It's not cold. It's not at all cold. Maybe I'm overlaid today. Still checking for any tracks. We haven't gotten very far, but that's okay. Moments like that to stop and reflect can actually change people's lives. Quiet, silent moments. Okay. Okay, very good. Well, it sounds like Damon is doing a little bit of a sunrise himself. Let's send you over to him.
We have indeed. Just paused after frantically trying to keep up with those lionesses. Unfortunately, they just went into an area that was too thick for us to follow. And so we've also taken a moment just to appreciate the beautiful colors that are adorning the eastern horizon currently. Look at the sun now coming through the clouds. And again, the mist in the floodplains and in the valleys below it. So out there off to the east, looking out over the Maputoland coastal plain. If you go far enough towards the direction of the sun, you'll get to the ocean within maybe about 25 kilometers from here. Just a magnificent scene. Also a couple of different birds calling. Southern boo-boo, I don't know if you can hear that high-pitched whistle. Oh, and so nice to now have this warm lights to help us to warm up after the chilly morning that it's been so far. Oh, just so pretty coming through those clouds. Apparently everyone's saying how gorgeous this scene is. It is very, very, very pretty. I don't know, just speaking personally here, for me, my favorite sunrises are those over the Indian Ocean and those over the African bush. So to get two of them together in one, it's very special. James, you're saying not much can beat an African sunrise? I'd have to agree with you, James. Most definitely. Now, as that sun climbs higher, those pockets of mist are going to start disappearing. And our plan for this morning is to go in search of a single female cheetah that was seen not too far from here a little bit earlier today, and maybe even look for some white rhinos thereafter, and hopefully find you some new bird species, maybe an interesting plant or two. Oh, look at the rays of light coming through the grass now. A little bit of moisture that's collected on the grass overnight. Just creating like dewdrop sparkles, if you will, in the grass. While we continue to go see if we can catch up with this cheetah, let's go across to Barney at Ngala so that he can say good morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to and Beyond Ngala. My name is Bunny. I have got Owen behind me as the cameraman for the day. We just drove for the last half an hour, coming to this nice waterhole called Opi Dam. There's been an interaction between hyenas and jackals, both distress calling. This hyena is busy investigating in the area. We have seen tracks of a female leopard coming down towards the water, so we were hoping for something exciting when we heard the dew having a little bit of a commotion. Hyena has been running around in circle, came down, have a drink, stopped, listened around, looked. It doesn't seem like there is any immediate evidence of anything that's happening that the hyena was hoping for. But not only the hyena, we were also hoping for something cool like a leopard on a keel or something like that down in the waterhole this early in the morning. Seems like this leopard has come down, maybe have a drink. It does look like that hyena is on a scent of some sort, looking at how the head is down and moving away completely onto the opposite side of the dam wall towards the drainage line, which is a nice thick area that this leopard could be and be able to hide away quite nicely if she's there when the hyena goes that way. So as you see, the hyena is disappearing. Listening to morning sounds right now. A lot of birds are calling all over around the waterhole. But the jackals have managed to eventually stop distress calling as they were earlier on. So whatever they saw seems like it might have moved away from them. And we also have been sitting around here for a bit just to listen to hear more evidence. So far, no luck, which will make us move on to try and see what we can find for the day. It's a beautiful day indeed. We're all excited to see what this beautiful day has in store for us. And the hyena disappears and comes back every now and again. It seems like he doesn't know what's happening himself, just on the other side as well. So what we're going to do now, as we start moving around and try to see what else we can find, we're going to send you over to Trishala to see what she's got for us.
Ooh, best of luck, Barney. I hope that you get to find some spots. I'm also looking for some spots this morning. I mean, I'll take any spots really, but I would love to get some hyena spots in. Need my dose. But I'm just buying some time for now, having a look at tracks and anything else. Heading down to Twin Dams. And coming up, the sun is not beating down just yet, but it has risen over the horizon, as you saw with Steve. So once we go south, I'll turn back up along Weavers and we'll head to the den. So say 10-15 minutes, depending on what we see along the way. Like the scrub here that's just run across. Let's see if we can get it. Daytime scrub here. Let's just switch off here. They can be so well camouflaged if they stay still. Bud, you say you were just so happy to see those hyena cubs yesterday. So was I. Really happy, Bud. That's why today is going to be a day of perseverance with regards to the den. And our scrub here is probably hidden in plain sight. Maybe if I just roll a little bit. No. It has scurried off. Sneaky indeed, Emma. Finding all the little creatures today. I like that. I think going out in the mornings is my favorite time for game drive. There's the potential to find so much. Especially when it's just a little bit dark at the beginning of the drive, like it was today. And the only reason that was so is because of the cloud cover. But I really like that because there's a potential to see different types of animals. Janine, you'd like to know if we go out when it's super dark to look for things? Not, well, short answer, no. But there are times where we may be out if something happens around camp that we actually do see things happening, or we hear something and maybe we go and see. But we don't actively go out unless there's a reason to after game drive. But when it is dark is when the bush is really alive and the sounds are incredible. Owls, predators. Just love it. But I think also maybe it's a good thing because it gives the animals that time where, you know, there's nobody really to bother them. Let's have a quick look here. See if there's anything to show you. Nothing. So I'll see you when we're heading up towards the den.
Thanks, Trish. What a beautiful morning it is indeed. And we've stopped to listen to the dawn chorus. And in picture, Craig has managed to capture, an arrow-marked babbler. There we go, he's up here now, Craigie. There he is. And we had the green woodhoopus for you the other day. These are a bird that do a very similar sort of noise, sort of behavior. They are cooperative breeders. And you can see the arrow mark flecks on the chest. And off they go. A whole flock of them flying. Very nice to see. So I was hoping to get them to come out and make a call for you. And sometimes you can do that by playing the bird call. But it's not always ethical to play it over and over and over again. So play it once and move on. And in the breeding season, be very aware of playing calls because you can affect negatively, especially if they are on a nest or with chicks. By making their call within their territory can actually cause them to be a little bit of alarm and distress, and they've even been known to abandon nests. So we're just going to slowly make our way over towards the eastern side. Tundi with her cub was found yesterday on Torchwood. Just going to see if she's come back over this side because there were lots of lions hanging around there. It's possible she might move. I'm just going to check those all familiar haunts. Hello, Nell. You want to know how fast these cats move in the evenings? Well, they don't really run anywhere. They'll get up and do a loping walk. But that loping walk, they can eat hours. They can eat kilometers away by doing so. And as soon as they start getting a bit lazy or tired, they'll just stop. But then also, if they're hungry, they can hunt and they can move in circles and big loops and end up in the same place that they were the night before. And sometimes they can travel quite far. So it really depends on the night, on the temperature, on their state of mind. Are they hungry? For example, if there's new males in the area, a pride can move quite far to get away from them and quite quickly as well. But when they're walking along the roads, territorial-wise, they just take it nice and steady, sort of like a medium-pace walk. Not very quick, probably about as fast as I'm driving now. You reckon, Craig, about that fast? Lion walking? A normal walk, like if you went for a stroll. But they can just eat the hours. And then obviously when something catches their attention, did you hear that? I heard something. It was a weird sound. I saw you look over as well, Craig. Yes, I thought you heard it, but maybe not. Okay. Well, we're going to sit here, have a little listen, see if we can find any activity of Tundi coming in from the east and Barney. Well, he's had some luck finding you a cat.
After all the commotion of the hyenas and the jackals, we come around the corner and here comes the young Shitsalala male up a tree with some beautiful sunlight on his face, looking like he's enjoying the first bit of the sun as it warms him up. He is, though, looking around because there have been hyenas moving all over around underneath the tree and all over, and now he just decided to look straight at myself and all went right there. So the tracks of the mother have left this area, headed down towards the waterhole with the young female's tracks, and then he's left behind. And he's looking around. He's got a full belly still after yesterday's meal. But I think what the mother is doing, she's possibly going to go leave the young female somewhere there and leave him completely in a separate area altogether. He's such a beautiful male here. Even if we didn't know him too well, one of the giveaways when you see a young animal compared to an old one, one of the things you'll see now as it looks towards us again is that pink nostril that he still has. Takes a little bit of time for that change to happen, and he is just at the moment sitting there, look like he's enjoying the sun while something else is catching his attention onto the left there. He's so concentrated right now. Not so many things will disturb him right now, but he's possibly looking to see if it's either the mother coming back or it's the hyenas that were here that are disturbing those birds that are giving a distress call on the other side. Whatever it is that he's seen on the other side, it's really important for him to know right now. He's not even blinking. Ginger, this is a really stunning cat. Beautiful cat sitting in a tree. Like I always say, looking at the way he's sitting right now, he's making a tree look way too comfortable for my liking. He is very alert this morning. Often when a cat is up in a tree like that with a full belly, you often find them with their head completely down, showing that they want to rest. But right now this cat is okay, decided to close his eyes for a bit there. But he's looking around so much, I think he's hoping to either see the sister or the mother, or these hyenas that have been walking all over around here. But where he is right now, not one hyena will be able to touch him unless something else or another leopard comes into the area. And of course I wouldn't be surprised for him to be looking around like that, because there's a pattern of behavior in these big cats, leopards in particular, in this reserve in the last 3-4 years, where young male leopards that are not that territorial as yet have been following this female leopard with their cubs and stealing food from them. And a few days ago, Makoti male came into the scene when these guys were in a carcass, and he stole that, and I'm worried that that behavior will probably pass down to this young male here as well. And he's most likely to do that to his own mother if she gets another litter when he's independent. But that's what it is. They're struggling to get their own food, so the easiest thing to do is to go around and look for where these leopards are with their cubs and then steal from them. So Makoti male didn't manage to get their kill yesterday, but I wouldn't be surprised if he shows face anywhere here, in particular with the amount of distress calls starting from the jackal to the birds and the hyenas calling and all of that stuff, because that will catch his attention if he's anywhere close by. Ooh, something must have moved in the grass. Did you see how quickly he looked up? Looks like he's twisting his neck too much there. Might as well turn around and face that way. It looks like everything is happening on that direction. And he gives up and is back on the nice sunny spot as he was earlier on. Look at how long are those whiskers on his face and that nostril I was talking about earlier with the pink. Color, you and me both. I'm always surprised about exactly the same thing, and my big saying about this is that leopards make trees look way too comfortable for my liking. And between you and me, Color, I bet you if you and I climb that tree, it will never be as comfortable as this leopard is looking right now. Because the tree is hard, the bark is hard, everything is just so hard that it will hurt if you're lying on top of that. Look at how it's looking. There's a hyena walking underneath the tree right now. Listen to that hyena calling. It's sniffing around right at the base of the tree, looking up. Definitely have seen the leopard, but I think he's hoping for a little bit more, maybe a carcass, but there's absolutely nothing right now. Sniff, sniff. Hey, buddy, have you got some food for me? Says the hyena. And he got his answer, and it looks like on the road he is again. It's actually quite a big female. This is not a male for sure. There's been quite a bit of hyena movement in this area. It makes me think that there might be a hyena den close by. So there's a lot of hyena activity here. Some of them are younger than others. But we're gonna stick around here and see what happens. Look at the young hyena walking by next to us, which makes me even believe more that there might be a hyena den close by.
Have a look at this, everyone. We've managed to catch up with this female cheetah. One of our researchers was driving through the area earlier this morning and she spotted her walking down the road. So we set out to come and try and find her. And often it can be quite tough to find a lone cheetah, especially if it's hunting. Because out here, especially here in the part of Pinda where we are, there's a lot of dense thickets. And if this cheetah was hunting, then a thicket would be no obstacle for her, and she would even walk through the thicket, which would be quite tough to then follow her through. But we spotted some impala that were staring very fixedly at something, and we followed their gaze, and they led us right to her. How fantastic is that? It looks like she's found a little patch of dirt to lie down in. Remember this morning I was speaking about the dew on the grass and how it was glistening in the sunlight? Even now, look behind her, and just to the right of her, the beautiful morning dew glowing in the morning light. Imagine how uncomfortable it must be to lie in that. And that's why she's chosen this patch of open earth. Look at her busy grooming herself. And I haven't had a good look at her tummy yet, everybody, so I don't know if she has eaten. Tammy, you say she looks so regal. Tammy, I definitely agree with you. She is absolutely beautiful. And now in terms of, I don't know if some of you may remember from a couple of, I think it was last week sometime, where we watched that single female cheetah chase that herd of zebra, which then caused the mass panic and stampede, where they ended up panicking a herd of rhinos and wildebeests, and there was just carnage everywhere, all caused by this young female cheetah. We're thinking that this is possibly the same one, or perhaps that cheetah's sister. And so the two of them were the survivors of their litter, and they left their mother earlier this year to go off on their own, or perhaps, if I remember correctly, it was either end of last year or earlier this year. And with them being off on their own and independent, they're going to be traveling across the whole reserve. Because female cheetah don't have territories like males do, they've got a home range that they'll move around in. And so she'll be exploring the reserve, perhaps seeking out a mate. And this will be an area that, like I said, if you may remember, I said last time that that particular female, which may be this one or that one's sister, came from the far north of our reserve, very far away from here. So it may be the first time that she's come into this area. And it will certainly do her well to explore these new clearings, looking for where the best concentrations of prey are, so that when she herself one day has cubs, she will be able to know where to bring them to find food. Very busily grooming herself. But see how super alert she is. Every little sound, she lifts her head. just to investigate. See, look at that. The slightest unusual sound and she jerks her head around. So apparently there's some questions about why she keeps rolling around in the dirt like that, if it's to mask her scent. It's not so much to do with... It's more just a thing that cheetahs seem to do when they... Like when a lion or a leopard yawns and stretches before they get up and start moving. Cheetah often do that, where they'll roll over from side to side, just adjusting their position, getting comfortable. We've often seen the various cheetah over the last few weeks, how they've lain on their sides with their heads crooked up to one side, and when they want to switch over to the other side to get comfortable, that's what they'll do, they'll roll over. So what she was doing, I think there was, she was probably midway through doing that and maybe realized that she was lying, just looking through the binoculars, it looks like there's a couple of little rocks around there. Maybe she accidentally touched a rock while she was doing that, and so changed her mind and decided it wasn't a good idea to roll over. Or maybe it's the wet grass. She didn't want to roll over onto the wet grass. But I've got a feeling that she's gonna get up and start moving again, everyone. Remember we said that rolling over is often a sign that a cheetah is about to stand up and start to move. And now that she's sitting up and looking off to the south, there we go, a little stretch. Oh, look at that, a bit of a yawn. So look at her tummy, look at how it tucks up into her pelvis area. That shows us that she has not eaten in a little while. So that's exciting for us, I suppose. The prospect of getting to watch another chase, if we can actually keep up with her. It's going to be quite tough with all these thick bushes. Okay, we're going to go and try and catch up with her on the other side. Hopefully when you come back to us, we'll be following her.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
Good morning from another stunningly beautiful day out here at Tswalu Kalahari. It is going to be a fantastic day. I just know it from the start. I have no idea what we're going to see. We are going to try and go for the Meerkats early this morning, but I have no idea what else we're going to get. But I just already know it is going to be a great day. Gendre's with us. Unfortunately, we're going into our final week with Gendre now. Tragically, it's been a good run, and it's going to be a fantastic week with him over the coming days. And as always, it's just brilliant having you along on these journeys with us, and please just ask the questions that you want to ask pertaining to nature and wildlife, of course, and let's see if we can actually get answers for you. My first thing before we go up to the Meerkats, because the sun is still like 20 minutes from rising, we're actually going to head down this road. There's been a couple of African wildcat sightings in this area over the past couple of weeks, so I really want to spend a little bit of time down there before heading up to the Meerkats. So let's hold thumbs. If I can get you an African wildcat, I am going to retire today. Maybe not. That's still a way away, but we'll see if we can get a wildcat for you, and then we can take it from there. And if you think you're emotional about Gendre's last week, you must think how I feel. Gendre's like, yeah, right. Yeah. No, it'll be good. That's why I need to find some good stuff for this old man on the vehicle here for the coming days. But let's see if we can get this wildcat for you. That's going to be this is a big if. Zoe has asked, will I be going down that well while Gendre's still here? It's unlikely. I just need to get a couple of things first and see. And I think I might even wait until Gendre comes back. Because you said you are coming back, eh? No, it's going to be exciting. I'm glad you haven't forgotten about the well. So that cultural conservation is critically important. You know, people always, we go out and we look for like wildcats and meerkats and whatever. But cultural conservation is as important because humans have always been integral parts of these landscapes. And I'm not talking just about the very, 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 very old stuff, but the more recent stuff too. Like that well, for instance, that's 100 years old, or give or take. So it's all part of these landscapes, and it's very important that we actually conserve these things and look after them. So I'm glad that you remembered that.
See, not too much has happened, but he's changed the direction and facing completely where he's been staring the whole time. And with him turning around like that, we quickly had a brief view of another leopard in the area. We haven't really seen it too much for too long to be able to confirm if it was actually the sister or the mother. However, I do think that chances are quite high that will be the sister, because further down where we heard those distress call earlier, I think it was the mom that was leaving this area and heading away, possibly marking a territory and maybe ending up trying to hunt somewhere. So he is still staring quite hard on the direction of where the sister was last seen. Right now from where we're sitting, she's directly out of view. She was somewhere further back behind the termite mound where the camera has just been pointing out now. But look at how he's put both his paws on either side of the branch, color, and look at how the tree is dangling down. Again, it takes us back into that point where he just looks way too comfortable for my liking. And right now he's so balanced. It's not as curious as he was earlier on. It makes me think that he's trying to take a little bit of a nap up there. Of course, although he might fall asleep, but hey, it's not a good idea to completely fall asleep fully on top of the tree like that. So he will still be able to hear what's happening around, in particular with the amount of hyenas that has been moving all over around in here. Shidulu-san, the dominant male in this area, is a big male leopard who is the father of these two, called Tamboti male, who we've named him Tamboti male because the first time he came into this property, which was 3-4 years ago, we first found him in an area where it's called Tamboti Donga. And he was not that old. He was around 6 years old when he first came, but a truly great fighter to have managed to hold off a territory from that young age. To date, he is still the dominant male of this area. We've seen him in a battle about a few weeks ago with a different leopard that came from the south. However, a little bit of good news on that is that his territory was too big. He used to go all the way to our west of our boundary, straight across us to the east, and he wasn't spending too much time in the area. And every time we find him, he was on a mission, patrolling his big territory at all times. However, the last week, we have seen him a few times. He's been in a mission, but it seems that he's starting to spend way more time in the territory than he's done in the past. The reason why I say it's a great news for us is that majority of the cubs, including these two that we have in the property, they've all been fathered by him, and with him spending more time in the area, that kind of improve the chances of them making it into adulthood, because the father is around, which will limit the movement of other big leopards, which will be a problem if other leopards starts coming. However, he's a leopard who is relaxed, but he's a very difficult leopard to track. We spotted him briefly a few days ago, but we lost him too quickly because the mission's out. He moved through thick stuff and drainage lines, and at sometimes it's just too much of a mission to keep up with him. So he is around, and hopefully we'll come across him at some stage, and maybe we'll find him in a carcass, which will make it easier for us to sit and view. But at this moment in time, let's just enjoy his son. And if you look at how big this boy is, at his age, only about 15 months old, he is going to be a big leopard one day. And we'll see how things plan out, but let's sit around with him a little bit more and see what he's gonna do.
We have a beautiful herd of ellies. I'm just sitting tight on Philemon's cut line. I did go past the den. Nobody's home. So I just want to hang around in this general area, check out Treehouse Dam, watch these lovely ellies. Just enjoy the morning. There's a huge ellie in this herd. They're moving so slowly because they're chomping away. But I hope they will move in the direction of Treehouse so we can watch them have a drink. But for now, I will want you to just enjoy the sighting and the sounds. I'm going to be quiet for a little while. Oh, just when I want you to enjoy a nice calm sighting, I see some ellies come running this way. What has bothered you? Looks like there's a big male. I'll just swing you around so you can see.
Sorry about the technical difficulties that just happened with us at Juma. You know how it works. It's every now and again technology plays up. However, we're still sitting with this beautiful young male who has been nice to us, turning around his face straight towards us so that we can see his eyes, that he's decided now to completely go to sleep. And he's giving us some of the beautiful features that we talked about earlier, to be able to see his pink nostril. And the other day on the drive, one of the viewers was asking me about how do you identify leopards. And right now with this guy, you can be able to see his spot patterning on the left hand side. He's, I think if I remember correctly, he's a 2-2. So you can clearly see the 2, and the 2 that we're talking about, if you zoom in and look just on the top of his whisker line, it's got 2 distinct spots in there, and it's got the same number on the other side. The other thing that you could use in this particular male, which you don't often find this on every single leopard, if you look at him, if you follow from his left arm all the way to the top of his shoulders, where his actually shoulder joins with the body, there is one much more bigger spot there, that rosette, that it looks like it's not complete. It's only just the one piece that you can see, and it's got quite a nice long stretch of the creamy white that you see there without any spots, and that is not a common thing with leopards. So if you first find him and he's on the move and you get to look at him to his left side quickly before you get to his spot patterning on the nostril, in particular now when he gets independent from his mother's territory, when he starts wandering off to other territories, sometimes you'll be in a machine moving around and you don't get to see what we use easily, which is the spot patterning on the face. You can use that on his left shoulder as a way to identify him as well. Nice as it is, as it's lying here. Beautiful leopard at all times. So while we look at his rosettes right here, we're going to send you to Damon at Pinda with somebody that doesn't have rosettes but only have solid dots for spots, which is quite a good comparison between the two.
So just like Barney was saying how you can use the spot patterns of a leopard to help to identify it as an individual, we can do much the same with this cheetah. So we've taken some photographs, and when we get back we'll try and figure out which female cheetah this is. But while you've been gone, she's been causing chaos here, everybody. She just now ran full speed at a group of warthogs. Now, a warthog is not an animal that a cheetah will normally prey on, and she didn't seem intent on actually trying to catch the warthog, just more trying to chase it. But she's definitely looks like she's on the move again. See how she's walking once more, kind of zigzagging through the bushes in search of prey. And she doesn't seem to sit still for very long, just a couple of minutes at a time before she's up again and moving. And the area she's heading to is often quite a few different herds of impala and nyala that she could go and try and hunt. Carl, you're asking how do we tell the difference between male and female big cats, aside from the obvious. So in lions, Carl, of course, the males have got those big manes. Just got to watch the ground here carefully, everybody. Carl, so the males have obviously got big manes in lions. In leopards, there's a massive size difference, where males are much bigger than females. And males also have that big dewlap, big flap of skin that hangs from the chin to the chest. And in cheetah, Carl, males are also quite a bit bigger than females. They got a much bigger head in relation to their body size. Yeah, aside from the obvious, that's the best way to tell. So there she goes. It's going to get quite tricky here, everybody, just to navigate through the rocks. But she's walking off to the right. She's going to that open area, everybody, where I said all those inyalas and impalas often move around. Okay, let's go back across to Ngala. Apparently Barney's got another leopard.
Welcome back to and Beyond Ngala. As it feels like this morning we're lucking out with the cats themselves. The leopard, we first had a young Shitsarala male and we thought we saw the brief visual of what we thought was the sister. We just came around the corner only to find that it's the mother herself. She looks like she's also returned back into the scene, and at the moment she's just taking it easy right on the side of the termite mound. But she's also still looking around, not having a peace of mind with the amount of hyenas that have been walking through this area. When we first spotted her, looks like she's about to get up. The sense of hearing is much, much sharper than ours. Right now I haven't heard or seen anything, but she seemed to think that something is coming. So she might have heard something moving on the grass, or it could be these hyenas that have been walking through this area this whole time. And looking at how she's just turned around and faced that way, there is a hyena coming, indeed, that is going to come into the picture soon. It's amazing how sharp their hearing is. We're sitting here and we're not doing much, and the minute she turned around we thought that something must be coming. When we start hearing the sound, she's heard it maybe a few minutes before us, and we're sitting right next to her. So that hyena is still behind the bushes. It might be a little bit difficult to see. He is being careful and doing what hyenas do, investigating the area quite nicely, but making sure that he doesn't get himself into trouble at the same time. The hyena has already spotted the leopard. Will the hyena come close to the leopard? I doubt that. It looks like this hyena might just walk by from a distance away. I'm going to keep quiet. I want you to listen to the sound of this leopard when she's hissing towards this hyena. You can see she was hissing and growling at the same time. But just looking at her behavior, you can see that the hyena is moving away, because how she put the head back up and she's starting to be a little bit more relaxed, and she went quiet again. So that hyena has had his check, and he heard the growl and all of that, and he decided it's not worth it. If there is no food for him to steal, it's not worth his while to try and walk towards her, because he knows that she will just get up and run up a tree, and that will be it. Louis D. Line, the hyena will always try, because they are opportunistic and the scavengers in this area, they're not hunting. They rely on these leopards to hunt and kill something so that they can come and steal from them. And of course, if he sees a leopard, he needs to come investigate if there is any food for him to steal. And of course, if there is, he will try and hustle a little bit to see if he can get a little bit of a piece. Although they're very, very curious and careful animals to make sure that they don't get hurt, they will still try their luck though. So he looked around and he didn't see anything that's worth his while, and he's decided to move on completely, to head completely away out of this area. As we can see that the mother is just sitting and relaxed, and right now we're gonna have a look to see what the young male is doing up a tree there. He is sitting there completely focused on the mother. But the general rule is that predators don't eat each other, although they all compete for the same food source and they are enemies of each other. So for instance, if a lion kills a leopard, it will not eat that, but the hyena is an exception to the rule. They eat anything and everything that they can find. So they don't actively go and hunt leopards and stuff, but if they find a dead leopard or lion or any other predator for that matter, they will always utilize most of that, including their own species. But leopards don't often eat other leopards, so as the lions. So these animals being opportunistic, they will take any opportunity there is to get a little bit of food. But the general rule is that they don't eat each other, but the hyena is the exception to the rule. So when I see it here, there's been quite a lot of activity with these hyenas and everything coming by. I'm just going to hang around and see what happens next with these leopards. If anything else is going to happen, I'm going to hang right here.
She sat down again, everybody, after giving us a bit of a hard time. Now, if you look behind her, can you see there's that wall of trees there? And to get to that clearing I was talking about, she needs to get through that wall of trees. And so we followed her to the wall of trees, and she got to the wall, and we thought, okay, she's going to go through, and then we'll go around and meet her on the other side. But as she got to that wall of trees, she suddenly did an abrupt 180-degree turn and walked along the wall, maybe about 200 meters, stopped, and we thought, okay, let's go and follow her around that way. And as we started the engine to go follow her, she turned around again. Complete 360-degree change of direction, and came back to where she started. So, but again, that's quite typical of cheetah when they are hunting and they are moving around. Obviously, we've spoken a couple of times about how they've got to be very cautious of other predators, and so she's not 100% sure of the area that she's going to go into. She's not going to go in there. She's obviously got to try and find food, but at the same time avoid getting caught by a bigger predator. So a tough life that she's got, especially with her being by herself. Again, see how jumpy she is. Every little increase in wind speed, every strange sound, she whirls around to investigate it. Look at those ears. The beautiful black patches on the backs of them. See how she keeps her ears pinned behind her as she looks forward, so that she can hear anything that might be behind her, whether that be potential food or potential danger. I don't know if you were able to hear that muffled bark that just came from the right-hand side. It's what made her suddenly turn around and look to her right. We've just heard a kudu alarm call from there, and we've heard some baboons as well from that direction. So I wonder if there's not another predator that's busy prowling through the thickets down there. Apparently you could hear it. Fantastic. Yeah, so some kudu barking and some baboons calling as well. In the direction where she's looking currently, there's a big mountain with a steep rocky cliff. Themselves leopard. Oh, and she's off on the again, everybody, trying to keep up with her. I'm just going to turn around. Just got to be super careful here with all the rocks. Take it nice and slow. Might be a little bumpy, everybody, so hold tight. Oh, she's moving quickly. Going behind that bush in front there. Walking past it.
So, we apologise, we just lost signal on one of the other feeds there, but no luck yet in terms of wildcats, but we're not giving up. We're just going super slowly through this big open area, and you can just see how pretty it is, even if there are no wildcats here at the moment, but we are not going to give up looking. There's a lot of rodent burrows around this area, in fact, and that's probably one of the reasons why this cat's been hanging around this area. In fact, I'll just stop over here. I wonder if you can just... I'll just point them out briefly. You see all these very small little mounds of sand? So these will be one of the gerbil species that we got over here. And it's exactly things like this that this wildcat will be stalking, particularly at night, because these rodents are very active in the evenings. So this wildcat will actually be sitting around burrow systems like this, and that's probably exactly why there's been a number of sightings of this cat in this area over the past couple of weeks. There are tons and tons and tons of burrow systems like this in the area. So this is a particularly good area for this cat. And then I think it's also observer bias. You know, your likelihood or your chance of seeing a wildcat in an environment like this that's relatively open is probably greater than when we're driving through the dense thickets. You know, so that's a... We must have so many wildcats here, it's unbelievable. I mean, we wouldn't even have an idea just how many, but it's brilliant habitat for them. So we're just going to keep on ambling along here and slowly make our way up to the meerkats. They should be getting out of bed fairly soon. And my luck, there'll be an African wildcat there while we're looking for one down here. But anyway, Veronique is there. Oh, Laura Moore says, everything looks like it's sparkling in this light, and it is just drop dead gorgeous. You know, with that backlight on the grass and that. It is so beautiful out here this morning, and I wish you were all here with us. You are, kind of. But it would be great if you were actually physically here. Sounds like there's some good leopard activity with Barney. So I hope he gets a good sighting there.
You can hear the mother is busy calling. She seemed to want to move on out of here with all the hyena activity and all that we've said. So she's been calling, and there comes the female cub which we haven't seen. So the whole lip is here. The young male is still left up a tree there. Look at that. There is no love lost between the mother and and the young female. Listen to that. She called her, and the minute she arrived, she starts growling and hissing. That already is a sign that she might be leaving these cubs anytime soon by themselves, because she doesn't want to interact with them anymore, but it does look like she wants to move them out of this area completely. Look at how that young female is stretching, holding on to that terminalia as she stretches. We're a little bit further away to be able to see the claws, but often if we're close enough, when they stretch like that, you see how they hold on with their sharp claws like that. Look at how the mother is looking back past us, looking to see if the young male is also coming. And as it is for now, that young male has been held hostage there up a tree because there's a hyena sitting right at the base of that tree. So it doesn't look like he's going to be coming anytime soon. He is looking intently at the base of the tree, listening to the sound of the mother calling, that he realizes that the mother wants him to come so that they can move off. But with that hyena right on the base of the tree, doesn't seem like he will be able to do so. I don't know if that hyena realizes what he's doing, that he's holding that little boy up, holding him hostage there, not to be able to come and keep up with the mother. Mother's still calling, but seem to be slowly but surely moving away, taking them away out of here. Katie, is a really beautiful sight indeed to see a family of 3 leopards and a hyena in a scene. It's really a beautiful thing, and remember, seeing 3 leopards is quite a treat because these animals are solitary. So while we wait to see how long it's going to take before the young male starts following, we'll send you over to Tswalu to see what Dylan's got for us.
Okay, we've just got an African wildcat. We've just got a sighting of an African wildcat. He trotted into that thicket right there where Jandra is now. There's a lot of birds sitting on the top of that tree there. So that wildcat is just right there in the center where those big branches are now. He just trotted underneath there. And Jandra, if you just go to the top of that tree, you'll see the bird sitting on the top there. You can see on the very top there's some birds. So that they were straight after that wildcat, mobbing him. So I'm just going to go forward. This is an incredibly tough one to see from here. But he just trotted straight through those branches over there. And I'm so bleak, I called it as a jackal at first. You see how far away we are? We're like 300 meters. And he just came across the open clearing straight into there. So I'm going to see if we can get a little bit closer over here. And hopefully we can actually see him. Yes, that was... Oh, no, man. Oh, that was like this far. Oh, okay. Come on, come on, come on. All eyes on deck now. Come. This is it, this is it. And I know Barney's got such an amazing leopard sighting there as well with hyenas and stuff, so... come on, please, kitty. Just one glimpse, one more glimpse. Come on, come on, you can do it. It's in this thicket, yeah. Right here, right here, right here. Come on, come on. Come on, little kitty. Okay, so where that bird's sitting, Beverly says it's so awesome, and it is. I would be a lot happier if we could actually get a sighting of it, man. Oh no, I'm so happy and so bleak at the same time. Yeah. It ran straight into that thicket there, straight into that thicket. Well, I'm going to try to look on the bright side here. You know, we know this cat's in this area, so we can actually keep trying this every morning, and we will get it right at some point. We absolutely will get it right at some point. And that's the way of the wild, eh? That's just the way these things go. And as they say, a miss is as good as a mile. So, damn, man. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh well. Come on, bird. Show us where that cat is. I'm just going to inch forward. Just give me 1 second. Let's just inch forward a fraction. Thank you for those who are saying it kind of counts. But come on. Thank you, but for me it doesn't count. I want to show you this cat. I really, really, really want to show you this cat. Oh, it's going to be so close here, man. It's going to be so close here. Come on, Kelly. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Yes, and they are so cryptic. That's the challenge. They are incredibly cryptic, and they're small little cats. You know, imagine putting a house cat out in here, in this environment. That's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Something that small. And it just blends in so beautifully with the greys and russets and the stripes on it. But this is going to be my mission. Now that I know this cat is here for sure, in the mornings before the meerkats, we're going to be coming at you until I get you guys a good wildcat sighting. At least I do feel a bit better now. Yeah, we're going to head over to the meerkats, and so while we head up to the meerkats, let's see what the other guys have got for you.
Welcome back, everybody. We are on Juma, and we've got a little bum shake happening right here with the painted snipe. How special is it? We've managed to find it again. Just to update all of you where we've been, we picked up the tracks of the... Oopsie, that is me playing a bird call earlier. We picked up on the tracks of the Unkuhuma Pride, and we tracked them and followed them into Chitwa. And we have lost them heading south into Little Gowrie and Annette's. So we're not going to be following them anymore, as we can't. But we found a snipe, which is quite awesome. The painted snipe, I think. Yes, it is indeed the male. The male greater painted snipe with golden colours. He's quite pretty, isn't he? The second time we've come here to find him, and well, last time it was completely random. We found him after a little bit of effort. They are quite skulking birds. They don't generally come out too much in the open. But when they do, they're quite easy to identify from a distance by that very shaking bottom. There are a couple of other birds that shake, but the snipe is a little bit bigger than some of them. That longish sort of probing beak moving through, classified by this rank or dank, moist vegetation. So for those of you who are new to the show, who are creating bird lists and missed the painted snipe the other day, there it is. Oh, the Crake's just gone over on the left there. Here we go. You got him, Craigie. Yes. There's the black Crake. There's another cool bird to see. He's also got a bit of a bum shake to him. It's very easy to identify. Probably the easiest bird, aquatic bird to identify. That black body and that luminescent beak. Megan, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what the reason is for the shaking of the bum. I mean, wagtails, as the name wagtail implies, is all about bum shaking. But what the reason is, I really don't know. Looks cool. Maybe it's the way they walk. What's really nice about it is it helps with identification. We put it underneath the category of general impression, shape and size. The way that a bird moves, the way that they walk, the way they shake their bum, or the way they fly, or their shape, the size, of course, and the colors. All of these are things we take into consideration. And some birds are actually easily classified by others by the fact that they do something quite specific whereas others don't. But walking through the wetlands, classified, as I said, by rank vegetation. I'm just going to be quiet for a moment, allow you to absorb these wonderful morning sounds. Crake is out in the open again. Now all we need to see is an African jacana in this little wetland. It'll make my day. We had the knob-billed ducks nesting, or they had the chicks in this pan. We had the 5,000 weavers nesting here too. It was a very busy place. And coming back at this time of year, it's nearly the end of July, and these pans are still wet, still full of water, still marvelously abundant with life. That sniper's out in the open again now, Craigie, on the right there. Sort of at your 3 o'clock, a little bit higher than, oh, it's gone behind the bush. Just to the right there, behind there. Sharon, how special is this? I mean, it is helpful with the long lens, but it is one of the reasons why, oh, he's just flicking behind that bush there. It's one of the reasons why binoculars are an absolute essential tool, not only for the safari guide, but the safari goer. The Masai Mara, with my binoculars, we were able to see, oh, there he flies. Did you see him fly? Oh, he's gone. Anyway, but in the Masai Mara, we were able to find and see some of the most incredible sightings, because just stop every now and again, scan the horizon, and lo and behold, you find a cheetah, or you find a lion, or you find animals moving strangely. Sorry about my game drive radio. And then you know there's something going on. And sitting at watering hole is also a very nice opportunity to just sit and have a coffee and do a spot of birding.
Definitely so. But you guys have a very important job at the moment, and that is to bring me luck, because we are driving in to check the hyena den together. And last night that worked well. So I checked earlier, about maybe half an hour, 40 minutes ago, and I didn't see anybody home. So now I'm going to check with you, and let's see. Like I said to you, it's very much about timing. You know, we could go in and move out while adults are making their way here, and we wouldn't know, because unlike us, they don't need to use the road. So they could come in from any angle and any direction, and we might just miss them. That's why I've just been hanging around this general area. Maybe hyenas were coming through and that's what spooked the elephants. I must also tell you that all of the leaves are wet, and it feels and smells like spring is is almost here. Like she's just called to say, I'm coming over soon. So you're like, ooh, getting all excited. Alright, you're all sending me your luck. We are approaching. Looks like I'm going to have to pay you guys half for today. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure we will get lucky, like we did last night. There are tracks everywhere. We know that they're here. It's just a matter of catching them. Jake, you say, oh man, why? I suppose you're hanging your head in hands. Me too. I really, really wanted to see them. And Corky's little one is just ridiculously tiny. So I really, really want to see them. An interesting thing I thought about was, I'm sure. Okay, we'll chat about that in a moment. But I'll send you over to Steve, who's having some birding luck, or maybe we're sending him some birding luck.
Thanks, Trish. Oh, that was an African green pigeon. Oh, he's landed on the floor. Down a bit. Have we got him, Craigie? Oh, there he is. How awesome. African green pigeon, also known as the Tarzan bird because of their call. That's my attempt at it anyway. Always nice to practice the whistling. Now, they're completely frugivorous birds, which means they feed exclusively on fruit. It's the most colourful and I think the prettiest of the pigeons. And even though it feeds on a lot of fruit, oh, there went another one. Even though it feeds on a lot of fruit, they still have to come and drink from time to time. Oh, and there's the Crake photobombing, of course. Look at him, he can't get enough of us today. Just going to walk across. He's not afraid of getting cold feet, is he? Plucking insects off the surface. And off goes the pigeon. Such wonderful and bizarre colours, don't you think? Those greens of the pigeon over to the blacks and red and orange of this bird with that very luminescent beak. Very peaceful and very serene moments. Lisa, it is very pretty, isn't it? The light, the way that the shadows cast their light on the water. It's a very, very tranquil scene, and to get a few very nice birds in there as well is an absolute bonus.
Steve for Bernie.
Sorry about my radio there, everybody. Sounds like Bernie wants to talk to me. Did you want to catch that 5-inch that flew across, Craigie? Now, it's difficult sometimes to actually film all of the birds that you might see. So by sitting out here with a pair of binoculars in a group is always the best way. Binoculars, tell everybody where you're looking. Use the vehicle as a reference with regards to guide. but we do some magnificent birding on the vehicle. And while we try and find you some more, let's send you back over to Trishala.
I too have found a bird. A lovely grey go-away bird. I think they're gorgeous.
Birdie. In terms of Ingwe coming on to Juma, I just wanted to let you know, down towards the west of Pipeline Road, it looks at one point as if there's a male and a female.
Interesting. Chatting about some leopard tracks on the Game Drive radio. Coming into Juma. Interesting. It's actually quite nice to have a few more people out at the moment, because that means that when we're driving in one specific area, others are driving elsewhere, and we can work together to find our spotty friends. We also have some crested francolin drinking down on the right there. I love when you see birds having a little bit of a drink. I think it's quite fun. It's like a spoon. Spoon it up and then drop it into your mouth. Sandy, you say that these birds have bedhead. You're talking about the grey go-away birds. Yep, they do. I think they look really, really cool. Oh.
I'm going to make my way up. I'm just at the other one.
Nice. So it's on over at the area where Steve is in the east. So he'll go and follow up on some leopard tracks there. Hopefully it's Thandi with her cub. And then maybe we can have a cubby morning and then I'll be lucky with the hyena den. So my last thought there was that this cub looked particularly small, and I wanted to know if we had a picture of maybe Plonk around the same age, Corky's last cub, and whether, because she had Corky when she was matriarch and now she's not, and I wonder if there's a marked size difference. So that would be interesting. Interesting indeed. I had a question about the smallest bird. Did I get that? I didn't get the name there, Emma. With the smallest bird that we get. High beyond, the smallest bird that we get is the Cape Penduline tit. I don't know if there has ever been sightings in Juma of it. But in Africa, that would be our smallest. Oh, crested francolins all out at the bar. The treehouse bar. They're having a drink all together. Very nice. Now the reason I'd want to see a comparison between Corky's cub Plonk then at that age of about 5 weeks or so, and this cub at the similar age is because this cub looks so tiny. But I wonder if it's just because, the ribbons cubs look so much bigger. But that would be interesting because being a matriarch comes with certain stresses and certain advantages. And the production of more antioxidants and less oxidative stress and stuff like that from a molecular point of view, which can affect the growth of the fetus. And therefore the cub when it's born. So it'd be interesting to kind of see if there's a huge difference in size, and whether that could have been affected by the fact that she's no longer matriarch. A little comparative study we can do together. Comparative study with Tswalu and Wild Earth viewers. Megan, you say that would be really interesting. Thank you, Megan. I think it will too. So if you do have a photo of Plonk at about that age, although I think I do too. I have a picture of him around that age, but it also needs to be him next to Corky, and it's got to be this cub next to Corky so that we have a reference. Her height should not change even if her actual build and weight mass changes. So I think that would be awesome. Alright, sounds like there was some exciting stuff going on the Game Drive radio. You heard some too, so let's send you over to Steve so he can give you the update.
Well, thank you, Trish. Apart from us having some wonderful birding, we've been given an update of some tracks coming in on Buffelshoek, coming in towards Buffelshoek Dam from Torchwood. And it sounds like it is of a leopard and a cub. First, the update was of a male and a female, but now they think leopard and cub. So it means that, let me just show you on the map quickly. Can I just have a look at that? Okay, so yesterday on the boundary over here, the lions were over there. The unkuhumas, the males were over here. Oh, I should have my little stick. Sorry, Craigie. The lions were over there, and the two males were over there. Their tracks have all accumulated and gone down south, crossed into Chitwa. Now, Tandi was found coming up Cheetah Cut Line yesterday, and then she disappeared down in this direction, and they had a sighting in here of her and the cub. But now tracks have been called in over here, coming in. So if it is her, she's done a big loop into Torchwood, and she's come back again, obviously to try and avoid those lions. So we're just going to race up quickly and see if we can find where those tracks are, and hopefully get an image, eh? Everybody excited? I have promised you to do a medicinal today, but we know how these things go. That's why I like to do medicinals on foot, because nothing ever interferes me when I'm on foot. But when leopard tracks, especially ones with cubs, materialize, it becomes time to drop everything and go and track. So, do forgive me if we do run out of time, or if we do not find the tracks and we find that they're not very suitable, then we will jump right back on. But medicinal Mondays can, as we all know, be shifted to Tuesday. Forgive me in advance, everybody, but it's what we're looking for. We went to the boundary and we checked the east and the southern side of Torchwood, and nothing came out. So obviously if she's done a big loop and come back in, that's a bonus. And it's one of the reasons why we use the radio, because to check every inch of this property is difficult. It's difficult. So people will find tracks, call them in, and go help each other. Very, very useful. This is a road she does like to use as well. It's called Nyala Road South. So obviously never go too quickly to anywhere, because she might be moving quite far and fast. Anna, you want to know how long it's been, or it feels like it's been ages? It has. I think when I got back, I've been back for over a week now. James mentioned that Tanya and Cub were seen 5 days before that, so it's been some time. I don't know when last you, the viewers, got to see the two of them. I think Tandy was seen a few times with James, but I'm not sure her little cub was. I can't remember the last time he was on camera. But he was seen yesterday by landowners in Torchwood, and he's looking good. Looking good, and he's obviously gotten a lot bigger from the last time I saw him. And already then, Tandy was moving quite some distance with him. Gwaripan is an area she spends a fair bit of time with Thalamba. When Thalamba was a little bit older, she spent a lot of time in Pan area. So let's slowly make our way there, and it sounds like Dylan's objective of finding the meerkats has paid off.
Ha! So we have got our first meerkat of the morning, and there's actually a second one that's just popped out now to the right of this other one. So these little guys are and he's just gone, no, there he's out. So these guys are just getting out of bed. We've just arrived here, we've unpacked our stuff from the vehicle, walked down to the burrows, it's about 300 meters from the car, give or take. And when we got here 2-3 minutes ago, they hadn't even come out yet. And Veronique says, interestingly, they came back quite early from their foraging yesterday, at about 4:15. Normally it's about 4:30. They're about, give or take. So they came back slightly earlier. But the other fascinating thing here is that it seems, and this is just, we've got so few data points on the graph now, but it seems that the pups are being taken out foraging with a group every second day. So I don't know, why they would be doing that instead of doing it every single day, or what it is, but it's just interesting to note that it seems to be at the moment like every second day that they're actually taking these pups out foraging. So that'll be, and they didn't go out yesterday. The pups stayed behind with the babysitters. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens today, if they take them out or leave them behind. So there's a little bit more of a breeze blowing this morning, very gentle, and it's not cold, but it certainly is more than it has been the past couple of days. So that could possibly account for why they came out later, or maybe they just foraged in an area where they got some good food yesterday. That's why they could have come back earlier, and going out a little bit later this morning. There's so many variables in these systems, and that's the thing. I mean, unless you physically with the animals every single day, the entire time while they're foraging, it'll be very difficult to draw conclusions as to why they're doing particular things. And now the $1 million question as well is to see what's going to happen with these pups. Alana says, regardless, meerkats are always enjoyable to watch. I totally agree with you. They are just such charismatic, such characterful little animals. Oh, those pups are going to be out now. It's like, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen now. Because remember, there were 5, and then 1 disappeared. So we're down to 4 now. And of those 4, there's 1 of them that was looking slightly smaller than the others. So let's see over the coming days what actually happens there.
Welcome back to Beyond Pinda, everyone. We have unfortunately had to leave that female cheetah for now, but our tracking vehicle is sticking with her, so maybe this afternoon we'll be able to catch up with her. In the meantime, though, we've come out into the vast grasslands of the far south of the reserve, and we've managed to find a perched bateleur. That beautiful... Oh, look back this way so we can see your face. I was going to say, look at that beautiful red face and those red talons. Perched up on that little dead tree facing into the wind. Slipstreaming himself so that he doesn't get blown off of his perch. And it's not terribly often that we get to see a bateleur perched out in the open like this in the middle of the day. Normally, once the sun is up and once there's a bit of wind, they'll be busily soaring, scanning the ground, looking for any signs of potential prey. maybe that this particular bateleur has had a good meal within the last 24 hours, maybe yesterday afternoon. Perhaps it came upon an old carcass and was able to fill its crop and fill itself up on meat. Just having a look at this bateleur, everybody. I'll use my binoculars and you can all use the zoom of the camera. Let's have a close look at its wings that are folded at the back there. And you see how the feathers of the wing extend pretty far back. And look at how you can't even see its tail. And also, have a look at how all those feathers, all those flight feathers, are black in color. That is one of the ways that we can tell that this is a male bateleur. I'll just show you in the book quickly. Jaguar, you're asking what the biggest bird that is able to fly in this area is. Jaguar, we don't get any, so that the biggest fly or the biggest bird in the world that is able to fly is a Kori bustard. We don't get those here. We do get another kind of bustard called a Denham's bustard, which is quite big as well. And I'm just going to pull it up in the bird book for you now so I can show you what it looks like. We also get great white pelicans. They are also massive birds, and they're also, of course, able to fly. So here is a Denham's bustard for you, Jaguar. And it says that a male can weigh up to 8.6 kilograms, which is nothing compared to the Kori bustard's 12 kilograms, but that's still a pretty big bird. So there's the Denham's bustard, and there's the Kori bustard. So obviously very similar birds, with those long necks, long legs, and then of course the males with those beautiful plumes that they use when they display. Let's quickly go and check though if that is bigger than the great white pelican. Those are the two birds, Jaguar, that come to my mind. Just quickly. Alrighty. There we go. There is the great white pelican. Great white pelican is apparently even bigger. It's about 11 kilograms. My goodness. That's enormous. So there you go. There you are, Jaguar. That's probably the biggest flying bird that we get in this area. The great white pelican. We're going to carry on, everyone. See what else we can find. In the meantime, let's go have a look at Tswalu's meerkat pups.
So we've just got the first pup that's popped out for the morning. We can hear the rest of them just underground over here. So they're all on the brink of popping out now for the morning. But at the moment, it's just the one that's come out. All the adults are out, barring one. But we can also hear that one talking to the pups under the ground over here. Man, oh man, oh man. I know I keep saying they're adorable, but geez, I think there shouldn't be anyone that disagrees there. These are just out of this world. And what a privilege to be able to sit and observe them, just doing their normal thing without worrying about us or anything. Oh, look at that. Is that Borough Maintenance? Very, very, very important. And that's their lifeline in these areas. These burrows are what they depend on literally for their survival. But they've got an intimate knowledge of their environment. So it's not just burrows that are important. I mean, you could have a fallen log, excuse me, that's hollowed out. It could be, I don't know, a small clump of rocks in the environment. Not many of those out here. But you do get little occasional outcrops. And it could be a thicket that they use, and they got this incredibly good knowledge of the environment when they're out foraging. So they know all of these little places of refuge in the face of danger. I'm very not concerned, but I'm kind of keeping a careful eye on the two goshawks that have moved into this area recently, and I think they are going to be nesting or starting to nest very soon. So I'm hoping that by the time they're actually starting to forage for their chicks, that these meerkat pups are actually large enough in a couple of months' time to be like really super sharp and able to avoid them. But yeah, let's see what happens with one pup. So Alana has asked, so do they have an actual alarm call for any predators that come too close? Absolutely, 100%. And they've got different kinds of alarm calls depending on whether it's an aerial predator or a ground-based predator, and also the distances. And in fact, the different kinds of alarm calls also elicit different responses from the meerkat group. So let's say, for instance, the group is out foraging, they're away from the burrows, and one of the sentries spots a martial eagle, which is a big predator on meerkats. But this martial eagle is sitting on a tree at a kilometer distance. Okay, the alarm call is going to bring everyone's attention. They're going to be looking in there, but they're probably going to carry on what they're doing fairly soon afterwards, while being very alert to that. But if that martial eagle was flying towards them from a kilometer away, that would cause them to drop everything that they're doing. Even if they got the biggest, juiciest, tastiest, most delicious scorpion on the planet, if they got that and there's a martial eagle inbound directly towards them, the alarm call given will be very different, and it will cause them to drop whatever they're doing and just bolt for cover. We watched one of the other groups recently, the what do we call them, the Xhosa meerkats, with actually a jackal that trotted past in the distance. And immediately there was this little barking alarm call, and all the meerkats were on high alert, and they all stood there facing the jackal until he had trotted off to a safe distance, and then they went back to their normal stuff. So there are different kinds of alarm calls and different intensities of alarm calls depending on how immediate that threat or the danger is. So Mom is the one that's actually out of camera sight at the moment. She's closest to where I'm sitting here. So
welcome back, everybody. Now, I said earlier I was going to try and find you a new bird species for Wild Earth, and this may potentially be one. We found a flock of chestnut-backed sparrowlarks, everybody. Look at them busy feeding in the road there. Now, see how those ones are kind of mottled and grey? Those are females, and then behind them are two males. There's two males at the back as well, and they look a little bit different. They've got a very black body with white ears, and if they do turn around, we might be able to see on their backs that very reddish chestnut color, which is where they get their names from, or their name chestnut-backed sparrowlark from. And these birds, like we said, look at how they're hopping around on the ground, pecking at the earth, picking up little seeds, maybe even little insects. Quite special to see these birds. They're not, although they don't really migrate over like large distances like some other birds do, but they are very nomadic, so they'll move around within their distribution based on rainfall and food availability. I think just with the excellent rain we've had this year, there's been very good grass growth, and so lots of seeds for these sparrowlarks to feed on that are still present now at this time of year. Oh, and they're just feeding closer and closer to us. So I'd love to hear from you if this is a new bird species for you. Oh, Joy, apparently you're saying that this is a new bird for you. Fantastic to hear, Joy. And I did set ourselves quite a steep challenge a couple of weeks ago of trying to get as many new bird species as possible. Roshni, you're saying they're adorable. They are very cute. Those little round bodies, especially since they're all fluffed up with the cold. But there we go. Looks like there's 2 males in this group. And I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 females. Shenzi, you say this is number 302 on your list. That's fantastic to hear, Shenzi. That's a very, very impressive list. And I'm very chuffed that we could get you a new bird species today. Just fantastic to see. And look at how they're sticking to the roads, hey everybody. Of course, on the road, it'll be much easier for them to spot any little seeds that might have blown off from the grasses, or any little grasshoppers or small insects that might be straying. I think we're going to spend a little bit more time with these sparrowlarks, and we'll see if they stick around. If not, though, myself and Marcel are going to carry on, and we're going to see what else we can find for you all this morning.
Look at how beautiful it's finally sat on this beautiful scotia tree, watching this hyena that has been following them this whole time. And there's been few hyenas around. I would still definitely think that there might be a hyena den close by if we come to investigate. But there has been one very persistent hyena that has followed this lip this whole time. The boy comes down and you can hear the birds further up ahead. That's possibly where the mother and the sister are walking. And they've gone through some beautiful open areas, some thick bushes, trying to hide away from this hyena, but so far they have not won this battle. And I think this hyena is hoping that they might find something that they're going to kill so that they can steal from them. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. So the bush up ahead and the drainage lines is quite nice and dense. But we're going to try and keep up with them to see where the mother is going to eventually leave these two, just so that we know where they are, because it looks like she's looking for a place to leave them so that she can go marking her territory. However, this hyena is not making it easy. And that's really, really beautiful. I don't know if you can hear the hyena and the leopard growling at each other just to our left here. And every time the mother settles down, like it looks like she wants to settle down, this hyena comes around and flush them out of the bush again. We're going to try and keep up with them and see how long this is going to take. So while we keep up with these guys and see what they go and try and maneuver through this thick bush here, we're going to send you over back to Dylan to see the meerkats.
So all the adults are out now. There's now 6 adults out, but we've still only seen the one pup. There was a second one that just popped its head up and then went back down again. But they're going to all be out shortly. And like I was mentioning earlier, I think there's still one of these pups, one out of the 4, that looks, I don't want to say dodgy, but maybe slightly less robust, let's put it that way, than the other 3. So, yeah. But, so we took bets as to how many pups there were going to be. I said 3. And Jandre, what I meant was 3 would reach adulthood. I'm going to be right on this. But let's see what happens. But we'll be optimistic, and all 4 will be absolutely fine. And they will grow up and they will live happily ever after and go on to create many more meerkat colonies. No sign of jackals this morning. No sign of honey badgers, much to my disgust. I don't want the honey badgers at this colony. Geesh, no. Before anyone slays me for that, I do not want the honey badgers rocking up here and gobbling up meerkats. But it would be good to see honey badgers again. And interestingly, that African wildcat, okay, we just missed that one this morning, like literally by seconds. Kathy has just asked, are meerkats and mongoose in the same family? Absolutely. These are just a species of mongoose. And you can see clearly all the similarities there. They look like a mongoose, they smell like a mongoose, they probably taste like a mongoose if you were a wildcat or a caracal. No, these are definitely mongoose. It's one of the social species. You get others that are far more solitary. If you look at things like the slender mongoose, which we have here, the grey mongoose, which is a species, wow. If we could see that would be easily on a par with seeing, like a snake weasel or something out here. They're probably a lot more common than snake weasels. But the problem is, just in terms of the signal that we've got here, in terms of being able to put this out for these safaris, these these grey mongooses, they live up in the mountains, so we'd be hard pressed to actually find one of those. But yes, if I had a wing and a prayer to go on and find one of those for you, then I would take that. Yeah. So anyway, so back to that question. Yeah, so these are mongooses. It's just a different species. Oh, but look how adorable these pups are. Man, oh man, oh man. Okay, they're looking at some starlings that just flown over. No threat there. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if they actually go foraging with the adults today. Because like Veronique was saying, it seems to be, at the moment, every second day that the pups go out. So I wonder how that works. I wonder if they build up to that slowly, saying, okay, well, every second day is more than enough for you guys to learn how to forage. But then why not every day? If you can take your pups like they did the other day, they were probably 600-700 meters away from these burrows foraging. And if they can do that, why don't they just carry on doing that? There are so many questions, so many questions. Shenzi says, oh my goodness, cuteness overload. Yeah, totally. But bear in mind, we are seeing the cute and cuddly side here. Eh? These little animals have a distinctly vicious streak to them. And not because they're malicious or anything, that's just, malicious and delicious. Oh, you can have some fun wordplay there. They're not, they won't be malicious in any way, but like Veronique has seen them literally killing African wildcat kittens. They got them one day just pulling a kitten up. The thing was alive when they saw it, and these meerkats just caught it and they killed it. Not to eat, but that's just really doing their best to eliminate whatever threat they can while they can. So we're seeing this huge little ball of cuteness overload, this fluffy, cute overload here. But man, oh man, these little guys have got a survival streak to them. Very, very, very much so. That's like anything in nature. It doesn't matter what it is. That anything will protect its youngsters if it has to. Or it should, really. Not if it has to. And that's how species go on to survive and persist in these kind of environments. I'm still fascinated about how these burrows are connected underground and which ones are connected, because we know they're not all connected, but a number of them are. And this morning, these meerkats all popped out at different points. And not only that, the youngsters, the pups, even popped out of different holes. So what on earth is going on there? Is it just now that it's a bit warmer, there's no specific need for them to all be huddled down one burrow for warmth? What causes that? What drives that? And would the associations with pups and owls be the same consistently, or would that vary from day to day? So many questions left unanswered.
We seem to be on a bit of a birding streak this morning, everybody. From the Battalier to the Chestnut-Backed sparrowlarks, and now this massive martial eagle, also perched up in a dead tree. Have a look at how it's scanning the ground around it. Also facing into the wind, ready for takeoff in case it spots some potential prey off in the distance. Using that fantastic eyesight of theirs to scan for things like guinea fowl or francolins, maybe even a small antelope. The area that we're in now, see how open and grassy it is with just the odd little shrub here and there. Fantastic habitat for steenbok and warthogs. And if this eagle did spot maybe a young warthog or a half-grown steenbok, that would be something that it could potentially try to catch. Critter Freak, you're saying that you call the martial eagle the leopard of the sky. Critter Freak, I imagine it's because of the spots on the white belly, and maybe also because of their sheer power and strength, able to take down prey reportedly up to twice their own body weight. Wouldn't that just be fantastic to see this eagle take off and fly low over the ground, maybe trying to hunt something? Just imagine what it must be like to be hunted by an eagle of this size. If you're a little warthog or a little steenbok or a monitor lizard, look at how massive those talons are. And on the back of that foot, there's a big and especially robust talon at the back of this eagle's foot that it will use to help it to kill its prey, driving that talon into the neck of its unfortunate victim. Oh, shuddering at the very thought of it. But super special to be able to see this magnificent bird perched up here, up high in this little dead tree. And from a personal perspective, my favorite eagle is a martial eagle. It's one of the birds that got me interested in birding in the first place. Just because of that just sheer power that they have. The terror of the skies. And speaking about, we spoke earlier about some of the larger birds that we get here in this area, here at Ambionpinda. This is probably the biggest eagle species that we see here regularly. There's another very big eagle that we do see here that I believe Dumi showed you the other morning, called an African crowned eagle. And while these two birds are quite similar in terms of length, because the crowned eagle lives in thicker bush, it's got much shorter wings than this martial eagle. And it'll use those massive wings to help it to soar over the grassland. Oh, is that a roller that's flying? Is that a little roller dive bombing it? Look. Oh, that lilac-breasted roller came in to dive bomb the eagle. Eagle didn't seem to be too perturbed by it though. I think we're going to stick here with this eagle for a bit just to see what it gets up to. Be a bit patient. In the meantime though, let's go see what Steve is up to over at Djuma.
Thanks, Damon. Well, indeed, we've decided to get off the vehicle and show you a wonderful plant that we have. Now, first of all, before we get too carried away, we found tracks of a male and female leopard coming in from the east. No cub. We're going to check around Bovelsoek Dam, see if the male is possibly around. Female, not too sure where she went to, but we figured, didn't see cub tracks. We're not going to follow her right now. We're going to delve back into the medicinals of the African wilderness. And today, we're looking at this wonderful tree that I'm sure Craig is able to show you in front of us. It's a very characteristic tree. quite easy to identify, especially late into the year, with the pods that they have on the end of them. A very nice four-winged pod. This tree is known as the russet bush willow, and in the right sort of light, like you can see it over here. I don't know if you got that, Craigie. The right sort of light, it's beautiful, this rusty sort of color. The russet bush willow, known as the combretum. All combretums have got this four-winged pod called a samara, which inside has got their seed. And most of them hold these pods on for a very long time. And so very easy to identify this one, the brown russet-like pods. And the common name, or the scientific name, Combretum herorense, named after the Herero people in Namibia. Now, these trees have been used for a very long time. It's quite strong wood. It makes very straight boughs of wood, very straight sticks. The Afrikaans name is called a kiriklapper, which basically means a walking stick. Now, you might not see it too clearly in here, but one of these long, straight branches over here, if you get a nice straight one, you can cut it and make a very nice hard walking stick. They've even been used in the past as supports in mining, the mine posts in mines that sort of keep the tunnels up. So quite a strong wood, as all the combretums are pretty strong. But this one is also very easily identified by the leaf-like structure, which, if I just break it off there for you, the leaf structure is a very nice opposite simple leaf arrangement. There's a leaf there and there's a leaf there, and they're opposite to each other on this leaf stalk, with the petiole down in the bottom there with the auxiliary bud. So we call this a simple leaf, very easy to identify, simple versus compound, but there's a light, little rusty sort of red hair color underneath this leaf. And a very wonderful tree. We're going to harvest a few leaves today. I'm going to harvest some bark as sustainably as possible. I've just cut one branch off. I'm going to harvest that bark off, and we're going to use some pods. We're not going to use any roots, because roots for the most part are a little bit unsustainable unless an elephant has pushed it up and over for me. I'm going to leave the roots to do what they do. But a wonderful tree. Let's get ourselves a couple of leaves for the pot. When I talk about sustainability, everybody, out here, the animals are sustainably feeding on plants, and medicinal value in plants is quite strong, but we don't want to damage the tree unnecessarily. We don't want to cause it any harm, so just mimic a little bit of an elephant feeding behavior. And then I'm going to go sit down over there by the dam, set up a nice little pots and pans section, and we are indeed going to make something to drink. Something to drink for all of you. And here is my one little branch. I want to get the bark. You can see that there's the bark over there. And I'm going to pull all that off and harvest it. And we're going to delve deep into the medicinal value of this. And we're going to move on to the water. So go and set this all up. We'll be back with you shortly. But let's go back over to Tswalu Kalahari with their meerkats.
So there's been some nice little flurry of activity here. The pups have been up and down with the adults. The adults have been up, down the burrows, out the burrows, doing some maintenance as well. A lot of digging going on. So I think now, and as it's warming up, I think they're probably going to be heading off foraging fairly soon. Particularly in light of the fact that they came back earlier yesterday, a little bit earlier than they normally would. And just constantly, all these little squeaking sounds. It's the whole time. It's like very soft little squeaking noises. Oh man. No, you can't have a meerkat pup. For those of you thinking, oh, I want a meerkat pup. Admit it, there were a lot of you thinking that. So the one that's just popped up now, that's looking around, so on the right-hand side there, that's one of the, that used to be one of the very nervous ones in this group. And he's actually just come on so well. Look, Hear no evil, see no evil, do no evil. There they go. So where's number 4? That's interesting. I'm just seeing 3. But the 4th one might be around. It could have just been in one of these burrows over here. But these 3 are little live wires. There's nothing. Zoe's asking, I think the question was, how small are they actually? No, these are tiny, tiny, tiny. If you take their total length now, if you take the palm of your hand of an adult's hand, it'll be about 3/4 of the length of your hand. So it'll be about from your palm to the tip of your fingers. That's about the length of these pups now. Tiny. I mean, they're minuscule little things. And then the adults, I mean, if you think of the adults are only standing 25 centimeters or so, give or take. So then you can that'll give you a good idea of the scale of the little ones against the adults there. Oh, but they grow so fast, eh? They grow up so fast, and then one day they're just gone. Yes, we're very, very fortunate to be able to spend time with these animals. In fact, any animals. Well, Sasha's asked a great question there. At what age will the pups be able to learn to find food on their own? So what we're seeing already now, and they're literally just over a month old now, they're already imitating the adults in terms of digging. Okay, so this process is an ongoing process, and they learn very, very, very quickly through following the behavior of the adults. Literally, when the adults are actually digging up things, they'll be poking their nose in there. They'll be making these very soft, squeaky, begging sounds. So they're learning constantly about this. Within a month's time from now, they're really going to be finding small food items for themselves. And within 2 months from now, they're going to be able to be an active part of this group, and they'll actually be digging out quite a few little things. It'll still be a little while after that they'll have the confidence to go for things like small snakes and that kind of stuff. But remember, because they're part of this cohesive unit, this family unit, they're always going to have a babysitter there or the rest of the adults there the whole time. So it's not like they've got to go out and fend for themselves in a month's time, and that's where they've got to be. But within 3 months now, these animals are going to be able to forage completely independently if they had to. Well, that was a good stretch and a yawn there. I love how stubby the faces are. So you can see how much growing, and how the skull formation still got to develop. The whole body structure's got to develop with that. I mean, you can see their faces are still quite short and stubby compared to the adults. The adults got this really nice little pointed face. Yes, but you can see just the time that he's kicking sand all over that little one. But you can just see in the time that we've sat here this morning, the past half an hour, just how much more activity there is, and the pups are now like fully awake. Yes, they're not happy with that one kicking sand all over them. It's like, come on. Really? Do you have to do that? It's like someone kicking sand when you're lying on the beach. Not that I lie on the beach, but it's just... Yeah, it sounds like someone has some very wide awake leopards. So have a look at those, and we're just going to continue sitting with these balls of cuteness.
So we have covered some serious ground. Looks like they finally managed to elude away the hyena, and they're settling down in this beautiful Mopani woodland, and it does seem like they might settle down here for the day. At the same time, as they think that they've got it right on moving away completely from the hyena, it looks like the mother might have done exactly the same to them, because she's nowhere to be seen. We last saw her going down towards the drainage line as they looked like they were settling down. and this might be it for the morning, so they might stick around in this area here, and the mother might have just carried on because we've lost sight of her a few minutes ago. So the two of them looks like they find nice shady spot. As you can see, the female does exactly what cats do after such a long walk, which is grooming herself. Oh, that hyena is just looks like he's coming again. Watch how the young male is looking at the hyena. He just picks up movement of him. And looks like he might chase them away from this area again. But with the mother gone, I don't think that they're gonna go far. They might just try and find a place to hide or climb a tree and settle there for the day. Because that hyena, he was gone for the last 10-15 minutes. We thought that this is it, but he is not giving up at all. Yeah, it is. They're posing quite nicely in an open, except that the hyena is about to ruin this party. And the hyena comes into the picture and the leopards disappear. He's been quite troublesome this morning. He looks like he's still hoping that they might have some food. Look at how he walks straight onto the spot where the young female was lying down. And quickly he walks around just to see and make sure if there is no food in the area. But leopards, that young female relying on their great camouflage, she didn't move far from the last position. She just moved into the thicket of the mopanis. And already from our side you can hardly see her. We can just hear a little bit of a growl from her side threatening the hyena. Looks like the hyena decides to settle down where they were. Can hear that little bit of a growl from the young female again, trying to threaten the hyena, who doesn't look like he's being bothered at all by anything she's saying. And a grey go-away bird on a distance sounds like he might have seen the young male possibly move back on that direction, as you can hear the distress call. So we're gonna stick around here, maybe let them settle for the morning and maybe catch up with them a little bit later. And we'll send you over to Pinda to go look at some zebras.
We've managed to find quite a big group of zebra, everybody. Look at how many zebra there are in this herd. It's ridiculous. Just stripes everywhere. And now I said herd, well, I suppose what I should say here is that it's probably not one herd. And that typically these zebra, Birchall zebra, will live in harems, where there's one stallion and then a couple of mares and their offspring. And that's normally about maybe 7 or 8 zebra at most. And I've just done a quick little head count and it looks like there's about 30 or so zebra here. So it's more than likely a couple of individual family groups of zebra that have just all come together over a good food resource. See how many of them, well, not these ones in front of us, but there's a couple off to the right that are busy grazing. These ones here all, oh, look at these two, almost neck wrestling with each other. Let's have a closer look and see if we can figure out what's going on here. Look at this, how they're wrestling with their necks. Ooh, and that one is trying to bite the other one's rear end and it's sitting down trying to protect its hind. I'm just trying to get a better look to see. Look, it does look like 2 stallions. Ooh. Lots of squealing and whinnying. very interesting behavior. And while they're standing next to each other like that, look at how different their stripe patterns are, everybody. Look at the one on the left, or the one that's now slightly further back. See how light it is, how much space there is between the black stripes. And then the closer one, how much bolder those stripes are. They're still like nibbling each other's faces, and this is very interesting. Rosemary, you say that they look feisty. I definitely agree with you, Rosemary. There's lots of just those little squeals that they were giving off, and just now they were also trying to kick each other. I wonder if this isn't maybe a small bachelor herd of zebras that are not yet old enough to hold a harem of their own, and they're just kind of jostling for dominance amongst each other, and also just practicing their fighting skills that they'll need to use to defend their harem of females one day, if they ever are able to hold a harem of their own. But having a look at all of these zebra, they all do look slightly smaller, or this group that we're looking at now, and they all do look like males. Look at how thick their necks are, and also look at the stripe between the two, if you will, butt cheeks underneath the tail, how skinny that stripe is, and that's how you can identify them from the rear end as males. With females, that stripe will be much thicker between the two, I'm sorry to use the word, but between the two cheeks. Lara Moore, you're asking if this is maybe just displaying dominance. Lara Moore, I think that it's to do with that, yes. It's just them sorting out a hierarchy amongst themselves to figure out who's the biggest and strongest zebra in this little group of bachelors. Who's the strongest? And there they go, moving off into the long grass. How special was that, though, everybody? All of these zebra all here together. I think we're going to carry on, see what else we can find. In the meantime, let's go and have a look at what Trishala's got for you.
It's very special indeed. There's a tiny little baby underneath this mommy. Gave me quite a feisty look. There's a few things I'm going to point out, and then, like I wanted to with the other elephant sighting, I just want to be quiet so you can just enjoy it. Firstly, I want you to appreciate the elephants and the glorious sounds that they make. There's a bearded woodpecker in the background as well. You hear it's drumming. And then look at the colors of the leaves. It really is a scene worth painting. So please just enjoy it. Hi, big girl. Hi. I know you're there. You've been giving us such a beautiful sighting. Do you know how gorgeous you are? Hey. It's okay. It's okay. The leaves are so pretty behind you. I know you have a little baby. But it's okay. In fact, if you want to eat around here, you can eat close to us. We don't mind. We're your friends. And you, little one. And you. It's okay. Somebody's getting a bit of a drink there as well. Oh, look at that. Like a little vacuum cleaner. Little trunk. It's okay, Michael. I often find that if you speak to them in a pleasant tone and you just continue to speak, especially if they come close like this, then it just, oh, bit of a trunk touch. It just lets them know that we're harmless. If we're trying to harm them, we'd want to be quiet and try to sneak up on them. Much like a predator would. But I think that it's precious that she's allowing us to see her little one in a vulnerable position of suckling right in front of us. She's not 6 meters from me. Yeah. You are just stunning. Critter Freak, you say this is magical? It really is. It's magic. She is magical. Hello, girl. I know, you have a very little baby. Very, very little baby. It's okay, though. It's okay. Your little baby still wants to suckle, but you just want to cross the road. Go ahead. There you go. Baby looks like a baby with pants that are too big for it. Wasn't that just spectacular? That was gorgeous, everyone. So glad I could have shared that with you. So I'm going to send you over to Steve. He's going ahead with his Medicinal Monday.
Thank you, Trish. Wonderful to be up close and personal with nature's giants. So I absolutely love elephants. Well, everybody, welcome to Medicinal Monday here on a Monday morning, coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm going to just bring to you some traditional beliefs and traditional healing methods that are used with the tree I was talking about before, the russet bush willow. But please, if you have any health issues or concerns or ailments, stick to your prescription, stick to your doctor, stick to your medication. Don't go by what I say as law. But these traditions have been passed on and passed on and passed on for many, many generations. I'm just trying to bring that back. Okay, first of all, I've harvested some lovely leaves. These are fresh. You've seen them come straight off the tree now. We also harvested some bark as well. We didn't unsustainably harvest any roots, but the bark is there. It's fresh, and this is what the ellies are feeding on. You can see that the wood is there, the cambium, and there's actually the outer bark on the side. So that's what the ellies are feeding on to try and get that wonderful nutrients. And then over here, we've got some of those lovely pods. Okay, so we're just going to prepare a few things. First things first is there's going to be an infusion. So an infusion is like making a tea. We're going to take a few of these pods over here, throw them in, take a little bit of the bark, throw it in there as well. Obviously, it'd be better if this was a bit smaller. And I'm just going to take my boiling water over here. I'm just going to pour that in there. And we're going to make a lovely infusion. Infusion is basically just steeping something for a period of time. So I'm just going to let that sort of do its thing. And we're going to make a decoction. Decoction is boiling something 8 to 10 minutes. In my pot here, don't have any roots today, as I said before. But what we're going to do is take a lot of this bark. And we're going to throw the bark inside our pot. Turn up the heat. Allow it to boil. So we're trying to get the active ingredient out of this bark. Let's just zoom that up a bit. And a wonderful tree full of nutrients. Sounds like a masterclass. Well, it is Medicinal Mondays and it's traditional plants, and I love to bring these through to you. So we're going to break this down and boil this so that we get all of the active ingredient out of that bark. Okay, and we'll be able to see the color change. There'll be a different color change between the bark and the infusion. And so let's just where's my lid? Put that lid back on there, and we let that boil. So the plant itself is well browsed. It's well browsed by animals. The leaves generally are off the tree by the end of May, as early as June. But when there is a lot of rainfall like we're having now, this tree is still green, green, green. As we've seen, the red bush willows are still loaded with leaves as well. But generally, you find them low down the landscape, along the drainage lines, along river lines as well, and sometimes on rocky outcrops where there's a bit of water access to the ground. Okay, so we're just going to let our infusion steep here. Oh, hang on, you're boiling over there. Looks like I got a bit too much water. That's okay. The decoction is all about boiling the water up. You can see it's all boiling out of there. You want to reduce the liquid. That's essentially what's happening. So the steaming of it is very, very good. So here we've got the pods and the bark, just mixing it in there. You really want out, don't you? And just leave the lid off a bit. You know when you boil potatoes and they overflow? That's exactly what happens. Rachel, there's no antiseptic with this plant, but the bark of the jackalberry as well as the leaves can be used as an antiseptic, which is really, really nice. Very, very useful for that. But there are things we can talk about with this shortly. I'm going to be steaming some of these leaves. I've made another little pot over here. I haven't put anything in yet, but what I want to do with it is I'm going to put some leaves in. Once this decoction has boiled and it's done its thing, I'm going to steam these leaves up, and we're going to inhale the steam, and we'll talk about that as well. Then we're going to make a little compress out of it, because it's actually useful to compress for inflammation, and apparently it can even stop bleeding. So once this is boiled up and we've lost a lot of that liquid and we really get that active ingredient out, I'll be able to show you the color. And Raymond is on board today, and he is very excited to have a taste. Craig is smiling broadly behind the camera because he knows he doesn't have to taste my goodness today. Craig, are you sure you don't want to try any goodness? He's just going, no. No thing. He says he forgot the honey. Oh, shame. Craig, he forgot the honey. This is a wonderful plant, and I have done this before, so we will be tasting in a little while we just allow this to do its boiling. We get all the active ingredient out of there. It's starting to really foam. The color is going quite dark. Obviously, with the bark, it gives quite a nice coloration, but it's always nice. I'll show you with a syringe in a little while how the color has changed. But when you come back to us shortly, we'll do that. But in the meantime, Anne Beyond Pinda's got something special up the tree.
So we've left the grassy plains for now. We've come into a slightly more thickly wooded area, and we found this kind of unassuming little blob up in the top of this umbrella thorn tree. And what it is it's the nest of a colony of cocktail ants. And these ants are very, very, very small. They've got like a reddish, brownish kind of color. And they're called cocktail ants because when they're upset, they walk around with their abdomens cocked up above their backs. And if they do get attacked, they'll secrete like a kind of formic acid that causes a bit of irritation to the skin. But they make this amazing structure using their saliva as well as kind of chewed up bits of bark. And this is what they then live in. This is where their colony is, a little bit like a termite mound, suspended up in the air in the branches of a tree. And they'll build their nests up there to try and keep themselves away from things like aardvarks and pangolins that might rip the nest open using their powerful claws to then feed on the little ants and the ant larvae within the nest. Now, even though this nest is probably about 6 feet up off the ground, and of course, like I said, it is built up there to get it away from those ant-eating predators. Funny enough, we've actually seen some of the pangolins here on Ambionpinda climbing up into trees to get to these cocktail ant nests. And although the pangolin that we get here in South Africa, the Temminck's pangolin or the ground pangolin, it's not really well known for climbing trees like some of the arboreal pangolin species. But amazingly, we've actually seen the pangolins using their powerful tails and then their claws to climb up into trees to get to these ant nests. And then once they do, they'll rip it open using those claws, and their long tongue will help them to lap up all ants. Andrew, you're saying it's bizarre to us to see pangolins doing that, because it's not something that you often hear about. I mean, like I said, with the arboreal pangolin species that you get in equatorial Africa and the rainforests there, that's a common thing for them to be doing. They're adapted to living in trees. So to see a ground pangolin climbing into a tree was pretty unexpected. But yeah, an amazing little structure, and pretty, like I said, pretty unassuming looking. You drive past it and you'd think that it's maybe just a clod of mud up in the tree. Pretty cool little find. Let's go back to Tswalu and go and see what those meerkats are up to with Dylan.
So the activity is picking up a lot now. There's a lot of digging, but not just the Borough Maintenance. There's been a lot of that as well. But there's actually some light foraging going on around the edges of the burrows here as well. So I think the group's getting ready to pack up for the day and start moving. Whoa, there's a rough and tumble going on there. My goodness. Yes, these little ones get quite aggro with each other, especially if there's any hint of a food item involved over there. So it's been so cute to also, the other thing is to watch how these little ones are still fairly unstable when they're standing upright, and they'll often lean onto each other, or one of the adults. So they'll stand upright, and they'll sometimes just put like one paw against one of the other meerkats to kind of brace themselves. And occasionally they just take these like classic tumbles. I love the highlights on the hair now with that backlight. The sun's quite high now for really good backlighting, unfortunately. But you still see that crisp outline on the hair, and it's very, very good. This is a little one right across here to the right here. It's look at this, look at this. Oh, this is so wonderful to see. And now we're close. And we haven't moved closer to them. They've just moved a little bit closer to us. And again, I just want to stress this, that the intention is never that we approach them closely. You know, if we're sitting down, we normally get our stuff here early. We try and get here before they come out, and we set up in one spot. And then we observe them. And if they come over to us, that's great. But we never try, like, especially now, we never try and get closer to them. You know, they'll just become used to our presence and that. And it's always zero interference is what we should be striving for. But it just shows what habituation can do if you spend enough time with animals. And even if it's something in your garden, it could be literally a robin nesting in your back garden. Just sit and watch and take time. And you'd be surprised how much you can actually learn. Stuff that's not even in books. It's great to see how they kind of like attach, each pup attaches themselves to one of the adults. It's really interesting to see that. It's almost like, okay, you my adult, you my adult, you my adult, and I'm going to stick with you while you're feeding.
Wild Earth relies on support from viewers like you to carry on broadcasting our daily live shows. A small donation goes a long way in helping us on our mission to connect the world with nature. Please visit our support page to see how you can help and become part of the Wild Earth family.
Welcome back, everyone. The kettles are boiling, everything is on the go, and we have got our decoction. Here you can see it's steaming quite nicely. Decoction, I'm just going to take it off the heat. Allow that to cool for a second. I'm now going to put the leaves, just the leaves here. I'm going to steam them. I need to get them nice and hot, and we'll come back to that in a moment. Now we've got two different drinks over here. One is the decoction, which I'm going to pour into this container here. I'm using quite a few cups today, so have a look at this color as it comes through. Oh, isn't that wonderful? That's just glorious. Wonderful coloration. Put that on the side. That's obviously going to be swelteringly hot. I've done that before and drunk that, and it's very sore, so just be careful. Don't try this at home, boys and girls. Make sure you have an adult present. And there you get that lovely color of the decoction. Now at the same time, we've got the seeds and the bark infusion, which is sitting here nicely in my cup. And this infusion, bark and seeds, is being utilized for heart disease as well as heartburn and overall sort of lung bronchial problems. So just mix it up there, and we've just infused that. Let's have a look at how the color of that guy comes through. You can see the difference between a decoction and an infusion with regards to active ingredients. So this has just been nicely fused, and this one has been properly extracted. So we're going to taste them shortly, but what we want to do now with the leaves, it does look like rooibos, doesn't it, Alaramua? So now if you've got a headache, you can boil the leaves up like I'm doing and steam them. It's actually very nice. And steam, there's a very yellow sort of liquidy coloration coming out of these leaves right now. It's a very gooey, can you see it, Craig? Semi yellowy, greeny, goopy. Okay, so I'm going to take that off the boil. These leaves here can be utilized as a compress. So basically you take the leaves, you crush them, and you put them together like this, and you apply them to your body. They can be used for inflammation, and if you have any kind of a bleeding wound, I suppose it helps to stop that bleeding. So there's possibly some antiseptic properties in there as well. But now with our lovely little infusion here, I said I'm just going to add some water because it's very hot. Add some cold water. And so this is good as a heart tonic. As I said, heart disease, heartburn, bronchial problems. Raymond's going to come over and have a taste, aren't you, Raymond? He's not shy. He's drunk all sorts of things in his life. Yeah, just come all the way around this side, Raymond, so you're in the light. That is actually quite pleasant. How's your heart feeling? Good. It's delicious. That is delicious. Tasty. Show the camera how much you enjoy it, Raymond. Very easy to do, you know, very easy to do. Make a little cup of joe on the side of the road. Raymond's loving it. Raymond's absolutely loving it, so who can complain? Now, we've got the rest of our sort of stuff over here. Let me just try get some of these leaves out. I'm obviously going to run out of time, but try get the leaves out to show you what a compress is all about. And add a little bit of cold water to our decoction here. Now, the root decoction is we're not doing roots today, but I like to just show the coloration and the variation, because the root decoction has been used for sort of general body pains and stomach disorders. So this is probably going to be a lot more bitter than the first one. because it's actively really come out, but it's not roots today. But the roots is what you'd utilize for that. So, are you ready? Everybody loves it when I taste. Absolutely gorgeous. One quick little sip from Raymond over there. I hope you've enjoyed our Medicinal Mondays this morning. Please keep your questions coming through. Don't be shy to ask as many questions about these things as possible. Remember to stay safe and follow your doctor's advice.
Certainly. I wonder if Raymond's doctor had advised him to just taste a Steve concoction. I am yet to taste one. I think it is on the cards. I feel like it'll be a cooking show, you know, where everyone tastes everything and they're like, no one ever says it's bad. Let's see. I'm so keen to try it out. I wonder what Steve will prepare for me. Maybe next Medicinal Monday, when it's my last day, we can do that. I know. Steve says it's live now. I can't take it back. I know. I said it because I'm feeling brave. These Ellies have been giving us the most wonderful time, Archer, just sitting in their presence and enjoying everything. The colors are just making me speechless at the moment. The sun filtering through those combretum and makes them look like it's lit up inside. And then these glorious, gentle giants swishing around in a bit of a symphony of dried vegetation in the background. Just so soothing. All of you have loved the Ellies this morning. I have certainly loved the Ellies this morning too. I'm so happy that I get to share it with you all. It's really special. The bush has been a pleasure this morning. And I think I'm going to send you over to those meerkats to close the show.
No, Trish is so right. It's always such a pleasure being out here and being able to share these incredibly precious moments with everyone. So this little group is actually moving out foraging now. There's still a couple left at the Borough, but the majority of the group has moved out. It seems to be that there are only 3 pups left now out of the 5. So that just shows the harsh nature of these environments. You know, 1 week above ground, we went from 5 down to 4, down to 3. Anyway, let's be optimistic. That is totally expected. It's nothing unusual. You know, having a 50% mortality rate on these things in the first couple of weeks is not unusual. So I think it's just going to be really worthwhile spending time with them over the coming weeks and just seeing how it plays out. They're moving off foraging. They're going to have a good day. It's a beautiful warm day. I think there's going to be no issues there. And I hope they get a really, really successful day's foraging. But in the meantime, as always, it's brilliant having you with us. I'm so excited to come out every day and share this stuff with you. And I'm talking on behalf of everyone with our colleagues. Please have an amazing day at home. Stay safe, stay warm, and we will see you again this afternoon. Cheerio!